Ooh, you're kind of early. Okay, welcome back, my legends, and today we're going to talk about the Broken Ghost quest. Now, I'm going to kind of clarify what's going on in the story and give some theories along the way. So, one of the first things people are going to be wondering is, why are we building Ash? So, the point that we're building Ash, from what I gathered, is that Hammond Robotics wants to replace Revenant, because Revenant is no longer under their control. So, they're going to replace Revenant with Ash, which makes sense because Ash was once, like, if you've seen my other video, worked for Hammond Robotics. She was rebuilt by Benson Dynamics, but somehow she got broken again, and now it looks like the Syndicate, or in the new Hammond, are going to rebuild her. So the whole point of building Ash was to replace Revenant. Okay, simple enough, right? So now some people are going to be wondering, okay, if they want to kill Revenant, how come they don't do it themselves? Well, because we learn is that this facility underground, under Skull Town, was built by old Hammond Robotics, so they had the access to this underground facility. New Hammond Robotics couldn't get down there to destroy his source code, except Lova. Lova was the only one to get down there because of her bracelet. Now, Lova started the self-destruct sequence for the facility, but unfortunately she got a little bit too emotional, shot up the head. It had protection glass, and it got teleported to Samate. So it got teleported to a new facility, and the same thing, it's an underground facility that the new Hammond don't have access to. So Lova's the only one that can probably get under there and finish again, try to kill Revenant forever. But this time Revenant says that, hey, I want to help you out, Lova. Now, I have some theories about why Revenant wants to help Lova, but I'll save those later on. Right now I'm just gonna make this so simple. So after the season 5 trailer, Lova talked to Hammond Robotics, and they basically made a deal where they're like, hey, look, if you can get us this artifact, which we now know is Ash from Titanfall, then we'll give you the source code to locate Revenant's head. So what's going to happen in the future is that we're going to go to the planet Samate, I think that's how you say it, and more specifically the city of Olympus. But now I want to talk about the whole ghost quest in particular. So now we know is that for some reason Lifeline and Octane don't want to go back home. Well, they're kind of scared to go back because Ash was saying some kind of weird numbers and something about Darien, and if you hear closely, she talks about a pilot and also something about betrayal.
Eduardo, Darien, Eduardo. Just a wee bit of betrayal before breakfast, dearie.
It seems to me that Ash might have been betrayed, and that's how she ended up like this. I'm not sure 100%. But the important thing about this is that in the future, we might get to meet Lifeline's parents. Also Octane's parents, because that's from where they are. And I have a feeling they're going to have strong connections with Hammond Robotics or the Syndicate, if not Benson Dynamics in some way, shape, or form. We'll see. Revenant made a deal with Lova that Revenant wants her help, so that way she could euthanize him and end his suffering as a simulacrum. But here's the thing, I think Revenant's going to betray the Legends. The whole reason Revenant wants to die is because he was under the control of Hammond Robotics and the Syndicate. He's been their puppet for over 288 years, if I remember correctly. But here's the thing, and I know this is why Revenant doesn't want to die, because Revenant wants to be somebody that makes his own decisions. He doesn't want to be a puppet anymore. And the fact that he can still be put into another simulacrum's body, he still has one final string attached to him. But if he's able to break that string, he will no longer be a puppet for the Syndicate of Hammond Robotics. He will be somebody, a free person. I know this because Shadow Revenant, well, I think what happened is that one day he died in the games and his body was transported to the underground simulacrums. And from there, he finally found what he was looking for. He found his head. Syndicate. But instead of ending his body, right, and ending his suffering, he decided, hey, wait a minute. This control panel can tell me everything I needed to know, and my head's right there. So I no longer, the final string that he had attached on him from the Hammond in the Syndicate, he can finally severed it. So what, as we know, is that I'm pretty sure Revenant used that control panel to find everything he needed to know about the Syndicate and Hammond robotics, and then staged the coup. So instead of Watson uniting the legends, it was Revenant who did that, and then betrayed them and turned them into mindless shadows that play his game for eternity in that dimension in King's Canyon. So same thing is going to happen here, and I think this is why Revenant needs Lova's help, because he's going to pretend that, oh yeah, I want to please end my suffering, but just as she's about to do that, I think Revenant is going to betray the legends and just say, I can't believe you fell for that. Like, obviously, you honestly think I was going to let you, out of all people, end me? No, I don't see it. I honestly don't see Revenant letting Lova end his existence. So that's what I think Revenant is playing. He wants to finally detach his final string on him. So what is going to happen with Caustic being the snitch? I think Gibby is going to try to convince Caustic to tell the legends, because I don't see Gibby being the guy who be like, look brother, I ain't no snitch. But I think Caustic snitched us out to Revenant. You see, it makes no sense. So I think that Gibby's going to try to convince Caustic to just tell the legends that, yeah, it was me and I'm sorry. Why was he hiding the fact that he doesn't want them to know he's Alexander Knox? Now, a lot of people have been saying that, oh, maybe it's because people are going to connect that, you know, he's Mystic's son and Mystic is the caregiver of Taejun Park, and maybe Mila might be his daughter. I don't see, so far I don't see any evidence to suggest that, except for that they have both the same name, Alexander. But that's not really, you know, you're really grasping at straws at that point. So the most likely theory people were saying that, hey, he's trying to cover up his past about how he's connected with Mystic, Taejun Park, and Mila. But I'll say no, because the Syndicate already know that Mystic is Taejun Park's caregiver. So as we know is that Caustic is working for the Syndicate in some way, shape, or form. We don't know if he's some kind of prisoner or if he willingly wanted to help them. We have no idea. But Caustic did say that, hey, I used to work for Benson Dynamics. This was really what I said in the first theory I ever made about Caustic. I said that it was pretty weird that somebody like Caustic was working at a pesticide company. Nobody found that weird that somebody with this much engineering and science would work at a pest company to help against animals. Something doesn't add up, you see. So I think that this whole pesticide thing might have some deeper layers into it, because it just doesn't make sense for Caustic to join this place just so he can work on helping the frontier farmers. It makes no sense. There has to be a darker secret to this. And the final thing I'll talk about is about Gibby. How in the world did Gibby guess it was Caustic? And why did Caustic tell Gibby that, hey, yeah, it was me? Why did he confess? He had no reason to confess. And that's because I'm starting to think that Caustic was secretly telling Gibby to please help me. He is in a very sticky situation, Caustic, because he knows he has connections with Mystic, Taejun Park, and Mila, and he knows that I think he's figured out that Crypto is Taejun Park. But since he's under the watch of the Syndicate, I'm not sure if he's a prisoner. I'm starting to think he might be some form of prisoner. And the reason I say that is because Caustic is kind of contradicting himself, because the reason he said he didn't want Watson and Crypto to get close was because he wants Watson to work on her, you know, life's work of improving science or something. That makes no sense. Caustic is talking like he doesn't care about Watson, but we know he cares about Watson, because when Lova says something bad about her, about like, oh, she'll be okay, don't worry, she'll recover, Caustic got really mad at her. So Caustic is trying to act like he doesn't care about Watson. He's just using her for her intellect, but that's not true. He's proven that it's not true. He really cares about her. In fact, I won't be surprised if the Syndicate told Caustic to get close to Watson. That way she will one day maybe help the Syndicate in their plans, because remember, Caustic really kind of wanted Watson to finish the project about Ash. So I won't be surprised if the Syndicate and Hammond Robotics were telling Caustic that, hey, we need you to make sure that Watson builds floats Ash's head. And now that he knows that Crypto may be Taejun Park, in a way his stepbrother, he knows he's in a very sticky situation, and his confession might be his way of telling Gibby to please help me out. And the final thing I'll say, my legends, is how in the world did Gibby figure that Caustic was the snitch or the mole? Some people are going to say, well, maybe he's just a good judge of character. Nah, that's boring, because we do know is that Gibby is trying to get forgiveness from Nick. So is it possible, just like how it takes a thief to catch a thief, maybe it takes a traitor to find a traitor, if you know what I mean? What exactly happened between him and Nick? What did Gibby do that even to this day Nick would not forgive him? And that will be my next theory, my legends.
Couldn't save you then, as through the air came the dancing flames. I'll keep screaming out with an unwavering tone. I'll keep on repenting for that night so long ago. Then your hands disappear, I'll still find the place where you